painful wall silver price will hit in June. Data released today shows that the price of silver will hit a wall next month. In this video, I'm going to show you this is an issue of supply and demand that will rear its ugly head over the next 3 weeks. Listen closely because this is the type of data that can leave you behind if you don't know what it means. I'm going to break this down so you can understand exactly how the price of silver is about to change and help you be prepared. This comes out from Reuters, and the headline says China's blistering solar power growth runs into grid blocks. We don't want to see this because this impacts the supply and demand of silver. The article starts, China's breakneck build-out of solar power fueled by rock-bottom equipment prices and policy support is slowing as grid bottlenecks pile up, market reforms increase uncertainty for generators, and the best rooftop space runs short. Last year, China expanded its solar fleet by 55%. That's a big expansion. It says, last year, China expanded their solar fleet by 55%. The momentum continued through the first 2 months of 2024, but in March, new solar fell to 32% year on year. That's a big drop, 32% for year on year. That's the lowest level in 16 months. Now, silver is a key component to these solar panels. And if China is having to pull back on their production of solar panels, that means they're pulling back on their need for the silver in those solar panels. And that is going to change the price of silver that we pay here in the States. The supply for silver is already an issue compared to the demand that we have for silver. And now with this data coming out today showing that the demand is actually going to change, that changes the ratio, and that will therefore impact the price of silver that we buy. Now we've seen silver jump and hit highs that we never thought was going to happen, especially after the past 2 years of silver being so stagnant and just really boring for the past 2 years. Now everyone's full of excitement. People are jumping in. People are buying silver at prices where they should have been buying the past 2 years. People should have been scooping up silver when it was down at $22 to $24 an ounce. That's where it's been hovering. And now we're almost $10 above that. We're at $32. So when we see China change and make this pivot, it's going to keep the price of silver higher because the ratio is changing. Check this out. This article says the country's solar power expansion is slowing due to tighter curbs on supplying excess power from rooftop solar into the grid and changes in electricity pricing that are denting the economics of new solar projects. Forecasts show China's solar build this year will be heavily outpaced by growth in its photovoltaic module manufacturing capacity, raising the prospect the country will expect more solar panels despite a trade backlash in Europe and the U.S. Now, you would think that the issue of tariffs would really impact our price of silver, but as long as China is creating products, they will find a way, and consumers will find a way to get their hands on that. That's just been my experience, and then that's what I see coming. But if China is slowing down their production because of these issues that we see in this data, if they're slowing down their production, then that's absolutely going to decrease the amount of silver that they need, and that's going to have an impact on our silver price. As we see a 32% year-on-year drop, that is a big change, and it's the lowest level in 16 months. Those are massive changes, and massive changes to the demand for silver. So as we see this roll out in the next couple of weeks and months, the price of silver is going to respond to it. And this article says that state broadcaster CCTV said up to 50 to 70% of distributed solar generation is being curtailed in Shandong. That's 50 to 70% being curtailed. These are large numbers, and this is a big shift in what we expected for the demand of silver. The article continues, China has tried to limit curtailment of renewable energy to 5% in line with the rates of 1.5% to 4% in most big markets, but in a survey of 6 provinces' ability to absorb distributed solar, China's energy regulator last year found 5 expected to have to impose restrictions on new projects in 2024. That's decreasing the demand that China is seeing for these solar panels, and therefore decreasing their demand for silver that goes along with that. These are the changes that we need to dig into and look at when we're trying to figure out where this price of silver is going to. It's not a guessing game. The data shows us where to look, and it shows how silver is going to be impacted. So as the next weeks and months roll out, these are the specifics that we need to pay attention to and understand how it's going to impact our price of silver here in the States.